So this is JJ Haedo joining us on Cycling Illustrated. He now writes for Team Jamis-Hagens-Berman, and we're very happy that he's able to join us today. So tell me, you're one of the superstars of the sport. I mean, if I put your name into Google, the races and the experience, I can't even begin to mention the amount of experience and what you've went through in your career. So I'm going to get right into this. How did the conversation start with you and Jamis-Hagens team?
Well, the conversation became with Sebastian Alexander. He's a good friend of mine since I started racing in America in 2000. We started going there with him as a friend, and then we raced together in Colavita until 2005, and then I left to race in Toyota, and he stayed there. So we know very well. We stay in contact. We're good friends, and then he always thought it would be cool if he can hire me to race. And then they realized that they could have a chance when the new sponsor came on board, Hagen. So we just started having a little chat, nothing serious to be honest. And then all of a sudden I started interested. The project changed a bit, the European scenery to the US again, and all came together pretty well actually.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Got a little issue with the light here. My other question for you is, how do you go from like racing in a classic like the Tour de France or the Giro d'Italia and actually winning stages there to racing in the Redlands Bicycle Classic? For me, you're at such a high level in the sport, there's kind of a disconnect there.
Well, to be honest, I don't know what to answer because I haven't raced in America yet back, so I will figure out some things while I start racing there. For the moment, I prepare as always, training as always, and then I think also one of the nice things in America is the crowd. The crowd is really into cycling when they're there, so they cheer a lot, and that's also helped to the environment for racing. It's not only the quality of the riders or how much publicity you can get.
Also, I understand. It's interesting because you're such a name in the sport, and now you're racing in these smaller American races, which, I mean, your career kind of started here and you went over there. It's just, it's like it's just a different level. And is your expectation to dominate over here?
I hope so. I left America having a really good season there in Toyota, and pretty much that team dominated the US that year. So hopefully we can do that with the Jamis. And then we see from there. I think things happen for a reason, and I will be there for a reason. Either way, to help that team to be a dominate team, or just to find something in American racing or in my cycling career. So I'm up to the challenge. I'm up to the change to go back to America and see the scenery, how it changed in 6 years.
You're known as a sprinter, obviously. Being and riding in these big tours, putting those hills in your legs. Are the hills in America, does it give you any advantage to be able to get through these stage races like a Joe Martin and be able to finish because you've rode these grand classics?
It could be. I don't know, to be honest. I only raced in America a little the last few years, but I think it's not up to me or anybody to underestimate the level of the American races. So it's not European racing, but it's not easy either. So I think definitely I'm a different rider than I used to be. A little strong, of course, stronger, but maybe a little slower than when I left America either, because you put a lot more miles in your legs and you're getting older, of course, so they get a bit slow. but I won't say I'm a climber. No, that's very ridiculous to say. But definitely will help me in the hard races. I think that will take a little more advantage than the other sprinters there for sure.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you felt that you had any advantage.
Yeah.
My other question for you about this: do you feel like you're going to have, because of your experience, do you feel like you're going to have a psychological advantage against some of these guys?
It also could be because that's the thing. When you physically a bit, you could, if you physically feel a little stronger than everybody, then you can mentally also think, be more bright during the race. But it's also a nice part and become a leader again in the team, small team, but become a leader, help the young guys develop. And I'm sure when you have a guy, it happened to me before too, when you have a guy in your team, then you look at him as I won't say star, but as someone who is really good, and then everybody the level just become higher. So I think that's a cool part about going into a smaller team.
Well, it's and the reason I mentioned that, there's a big difference. I mean, I think everybody acknowledges that there's a big difference between you coming down to a bunch sprint with Mark Cavendish and some of these guys in America are fast, but
yeah,
they're not. I mean, they're not Mark Cavendish and they're not you. So we all look really forward to watching you sprint. Trust me, we're glad you're here.
It will be.
But there's that's the the deal. So I just some of these guys are probably chatting it up like, oh my God, the psychological advantage you might have over some of these guys are probably pretty powerful because they've all watched you and idolized you, being in these big races. So you're known for being a grueling bunch sprinter. When you get down to, like a grueling, when you get down to 5 laps to go, like people know where you are. What makes you that way?
Well, probably I raced a lot in the track before, and then in the track you really have to be focusing in the last few laps, and you really have to know what you want to do, where you want to be. It's a really short part to do mistakes. Otherwise, you can pass, because also the bench can be used as an advantage or can be used as a disadvantage. So I guess I learned a lot in the track, and then I could put it into the road on the crit part. So, and one of the good things of me, I don't like to panic in any time. So normally I look always calm, or I try to be calm before the sprint, and that's, I think, the part is different to another sprinters. Some other guys, they like to fight, and then I prefer not to fight, and then when I have to do my thing, I do it, but not be always in the mix there, throwing punches.
Give me your thought process with 2 laps to go. I mean, you must be one hell of a tactician out there.
I won't call a hell of a tactician, but as I say, I don't like to be in the fight. If I see it's too messy, then maybe I do a step back, and then I call, okay, that corner, no matter what, I have to be in that position. But it doesn't matter if I'm 2 or 3 positions back before, and then I can make my move in there. Otherwise, you spend too much energy just fighting for that, and you will lose anyway. Right. It's some days you don't think about anything and you just do it, and I think those are the days that you probably win the most, because you're not thinking, you're just acting. You don't have the time to think, and then that's it. When you think too much, then it's when you lose time and you don't do anything. So absolutely, you act, but almost like an instant,
Yeah. Do you, and I know you're concentrating on this year, so maybe this isn't a fair question, but maybe it is. Do you plan on going back to Europe?
It could be. I'm actually not planning anything after what happened this year, going from Europe into the US. It was not planning either. So for 2014, I'm not planning anything, to be honest. I think when we plan too much, nothing really happens. So I will go with the punches from the first part of the year, and then I I will see where I ended up, but I'm also looking forward to spend a good year in the US, a bit more relaxed than European races for sure, and maybe that.
Why are they more relaxed?
Well, not the races itself. The pressure is a lot less because, of course, the price is a lot less too. But that's the thing. The pressure from the teams and I think it's a lot more serious in Europe. You know, it's just you go. It's kind of like going to race is going to work. You go to the race, finish the race. As soon as you finish, you shower, you get to the airport, back home again. So it's a lot more like a real shot. You know, it's not like there you go, create people having fun. People, it's more like
having a barbecue after they race.
Having a barbecue, feel it. People drinking from 9 o'clock in the morning. It's a different environment too, so I think it makes more relaxed the actual race. Not the race itself, but the whole environment is a lot more relaxed.
Yeah. How do you get a young cyclist to continue to ride with the passion that he did at the beginning of his career, at the end of his career?
I think it's something that comes inside, and then probably someone or some people, they lose that along the way, and that's when you have to start thinking about when you start a sport and how did you enjoy it. And I think that's why also it could be a good thing for me going back to America, and that's when I started riding there, and I didn't make any money, and I was riding by love, by passion, and I think that's the key of the sport. Just keep riding, like you said, with the same passion, not thinking. When you go to Europe or you start being professional, then things change, and it's like a job, and you start thinking not only that, but you start thinking, okay, I win races, I win money, it's my future, and then you start thinking about the job, and then you start losing a bit that part of the you learn when you learn when you were a kid, you know, racing because you like to race, training because you like to train, not because you have to.
Right. So your campaign here this time in America, I mean, you're obviously going to go out, you're going to do your very best to dominate and win races, but mentally for you, it's not as grueling as being in Europe, is what I'm getting the feeling, because, you know, over in Europe, it's the purses are so high, there's so much pressure on you that maybe racing a year in America is going to let your mind relax a little bit. Is that a fair statement?
It could be a thing, yeah. It's not the reason why I got to America, but while I'm thinking how the year is going to be, then I think the good things could be changed, you know, come back to the basis, you know, come back to where I start being professional, or where I start trying to be a professional, you know, before I was even a professional. And then we used to, before being professional, we used to ride our bikes, paint houses, and do things in America just to make a living and ride amateurs. And I think that it will bring to me a lot of those things than I did to be a professional. And maybe just go back to, it's one of the things, it's not the only reason, but there are things that come to my head when I start thinking about the good things that can happen this year.
Well, absolutely. Take me inside one of your meetings at camp. Tell me what you tell these guys.
The what?
Take me inside one of your camps, or take me inside one of your team huddles before a big race that you think you can win. What do you tell these younger guys?
Well,
we're sitting there, everybody's around. It's a 3-day criterium. You're going to win. You want to win. What do you tell them? Do you just tell them to go ride? I mean, there has to be a different.
Well, yeah. One thing is you got to do what you got to do. Don't wait for anybody to do what you have to do. So, as I say, maybe if I talk to them, maybe they get a little more motivated for sure. And that I think that will be an advantage for our team this year. You know.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not a big talker, because I I think everybody have to know what they have to do, otherwise they become robots. So everybody has to think from themselves and take decisions. So no one, in the end, you can do what you have to do without anyone telling you. But I think when you have things under control with your teams, give right directions to everybody and not expecting more than what you can expect from the other guys, then things can go really well. And we put everybody in their place. We do, guys, don't leave anything for the luck, just for guess.
Right.
Just, we have to do this, we do it, and then also will be up to me to do a lot of things and get results. So I will also have a lot of responsibility from those kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it will be quite an experience. When I left America, I was still young and winning a lot, but the older guys, they were with me, So I still got. They take the decisions, and I was getting those decisions. So it's hard to say what I'm going to say. To be honest, it's just
Sure.
I also don't have to take the control. I'm another rider. We have to learn. I have to hear what my sport director say, and then from there we will take decisions together probably.
Yeah, but you are a champion, and you just probably do a great job of leading by example, I'm sure. Let me ask you a couple more questions and then we'll wrap this up. What is the biggest moment that you've ever had in your cycling career?
The biggest moment
for you?
I think my victory probably in Vuelta a España last year was one of the biggest moments, because you always grew up watching those big Grand Tours, like Giro, Tour, or Vuelta. And then I raced quite a few of them, and then always close, and then finally winning in a Grand Tour. I think it's almost like a degree in a professional cycling. You're a winner in those three big ones. I think that was one of the biggest moments. And then, of course, being part of the Tour de France was big, but I always remember that day putting my hands up in Vuelta as one of the biggest moments.
Yeah, well, we look forward to you, as I'm sure the rest of America does. I'm sure Europe's going to be looking on to watch you sprint in America. It's so exciting. And we're glad you're here, and you're such a nice guy, and we're happy that you joined us on Cycling Illustrated today. Do you have anything that you want to add?
No, I just want to say also thanks to America. I'm sure they're going to receive me with a lot of, how you say in English, I don't know, but a lot of love, I would say.
And I would think so.
I'm happy to go back. I always say that's a good place for me. I always felt the people like me, and then when I came back from Europe, they always cheer me up, and you feel like you left something behind, but a good thing, you left something. And I was taught by my dad, you have to be first a good person, then a good athlete. And when I go back and I heard people like that, then I think I'm on the right path. That's a good thing. I'm not just about being the best cycler in the world.
No, I can tell you're a really nice guy, and when we all heard that you were coming back to America, let me tell you, you're a game changer. And just by putting that news out that you're coming back, some of these younger guys that are going to still have good years, but you're making them train harder right now, let me assure you. So I appreciate it. Thank you for joining us.